From the Covington studios of TKR Cable, this is Northern Kentucky Tonight.
Good evening. A verdict tonight in a civil trial that blamed a Northern Kentucky man and two college fraternities for a drunk driving death on the night of a college frat party 3 years ago. This is the story of two friends who went to the party in Lexington, used fake IDs to get in, drank heavily, and then tried to drive home. Wes Akers reports on the court case that posed the question who's responsible and who should pay.
After 5 days of testimony and 8 hours of deliberations, a Boone County jury returned a verdict today, ordering John Reneker and two University of Kentucky fraternities, Kappa Sigma and Sigma Pi, to pay for the death of Gregory Cooney of Florence. Cooney and Reneker attended a 1993 frat party in Lexington. On their way home, with Reneker driving, they crashed on I-75, killing Cooney. Cooney's father, Bob, sued Reneker and the fraternities, saying they were responsible for his son's death. Today, the jury delivered a mixed verdict. Jurors found that Reneker's and the fraternity's negligence contributed to Cooney's death and ordered them to pay the Cooney family roughly $600,000 to cover funeral expenses and Gregory Cooney's loss of earning power. The jury could have awarded the Cooneys a much higher amount in punitive damages, but chose not to.
In terms of the damage numbers, in terms of the amount of money the jury adjudicated, that's not important to Mr. and Mrs. Cooney at all. They didn't come here looking to win the lotto. They came here to prove a point about it.
Bob Sanders and his client, Bob Cooney, both say the purpose of the lawsuit was to get the attention of college fraternities and perhaps make them responsible party hosts.
We will never know if we have kept one child from being killed or maimed. We will never know. But what we do know is that we tried. And I would have felt worse had we not tried.
John Reneker declined to talk after the verdict, but his attorney told us the jury did send a message.
The fraternities need to be a little more cautious about how they conduct their activities, and it's obviously affected my client, John Reneker, but again, we're pleased that this has come to an end.
Meantime, the attorney for Kappa Sigma concedes fraternities need to do a better job of enforcing their alcohol policies.
The message isn't that, well, you better do something, you better start a policy. The policy's there, and it's a matter of probably refining the policy and trying to take greater control over certain things to the extent possible that this type of thing doesn't happen again.
Bob Cooney agrees.
All we have to do now is encourage them to start taking some affirmative action to follow their own rules and guidelines at the fraternities. And if they do that, then today was a success.
In Burlington, Wes Akers, Northern Kentucky Tonight.
Now, the jury was given the tough task of deciding who was responsible for Greg Cooney's death, the fraternities who served the beer, or Reneker, or Cooney himself. They divided it up, giving the fraternities each 10% of the blame, placed 29% on Reneker's shoulders, but they decided that Cooney was 51% responsible for his own death. We will take a break now. Your Sports Minute up next when Northern Kentucky Tonight continues.